All right, we're recording. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is November 25th, 2020, and I'm here with Daniel Bertizan from Ontario, Canada, of Daniel's Hot Topics. What's going on, Daniel?
Hi guys. I'm doing pretty good.
So, what's on your mind today, Daniel?
Um, did you see the Mandalorian, like the last episode of the Mandalorian? It's going really good this season, isn't it?
See,
I don't.
season 2, episode 4.
Yeah.
My only criticism with season 2, maybe I'm just too picky, but I've seen a lot of Star Wars, and there's been a lot of Star Wars. The one gripe I had with season 2, episode 4 was the Imperial stormtroopers just seem comically incompetent. There's only like a handful of people he's able to take out the entire base. Yeah, it was cool seeing TIE fighters fighting, and then, somehow he was able to take out all the TIE fighters with just basically a troop transport with a defense turret. In my opinion, it just didn't seem very realistic. I think if you it had better writing, or at least a little better writing with the episode, um,
Hmm.
you could have had it where he took out one or two stormtroopers, but you made it where he takes out an entire base, and it makes you wonder. It was like, God, is stormtrooper training really that poor? Um, it makes you wonder how the Empire even came to power if the stormtroopers are that incompetent. That
Yeah,
that was my
exactly.
only gripe about it. Now, like in Star Wars: A New Hope, the only reason why the stormtroopers didn't make their mark was explained by the fact that Darth Vader was purposely letting the Millennium Falcon escape because they had a tracking on them. They were hoping that the Millennium Falcon would lead them to the Rebel base. So that kind of made sense. And then in Return of the Jedi, the stormtroopers were ambushed in the jungle with guerrilla warfare tactics. So that kind of made sense as well. But I just thought it was a little bit too comical. TIE fighters are getting shot down left and right, and
Hmm.
he destroys the whole base, and I don't know.
I don't get it. Why is it so hard to shoot down TIE fighters? Like, remember how they were shooting them down with that transport? It was like so hard for them to do it. And I'm like, how hard could it be,
Well,
right?
the turret is not that flexible, and it's more of a troop transport. That turret is more designed for. I'm sure it's loosely based on like troop transports in real life. Like, for example, in the U.S. military, they have the Abrams fighting vehicle,
Hmm.
which is technically a troop transport and carry 5 soldiers. I think it has a crew of 3, and it has a 20 millimeter cannon, but it's not. You could, in theory, shoot down an aircraft with an Abrams fighting vehicle, but it wouldn't be very accurate, and it's not designed for that. The cannon on a troop transport like an Abrams fighting vehicle is designed for infantry, like ground forces. And I'm
Hmm.
assuming that's the reason why. But I mean, the fact that they took out a whole base with only a handful of people, it just, I don't know. It seemed like it just like, well, how did the Empire, like, this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. How did the Imperial Remnant even stick around? They would have been taken out a long time ago if their stormtroopers were that poorly trained. I don't know. That was my only gripe against it. I mean, yeah, it's an okay series, Mandalorian. It's okay.
Yeah. And
There's
it's going to
some
be
elements I
spin-offs.
like it. I like season 1 a little bit better so far. I
Yeah.
mean, we're only halfway through season 2 because they're only doing 8 episodes per season. But yeah, it was okay. The one thing I noticed is Baby Yoda is no longer using his force powers this season. Wonder why that is.
Oh, well, maybe he's saving it for like the end, like later on or something, because that cost kind of this budget. It digs into their budget, I guess. So, yeah.
Well, we had talked about off camera. You said that there was a theory that he's actually Baby Yoda. He's not just Yoda's species, but he's Baby Yoda, and that eventually, when he meets up with Ahsoka, he'll travel back in time.
Yeah, I'll travel back in time to like 1,000 years in the past, like to the Old Republic era. So like Ahsoka will go to the Old Republic era and give Baby Yoda to the Old Republic. to protect him from the Empire. That would be interesting. That would be like a really cool, like, that would be really cool time travel. Yeah, I like that.
Where did you hear that rumor? Where did you get
Oh,
your
I heard on
source?
the internet. I hear people talking about it. I
Where on the
really
internet?
hope it's
The
true.
internet's a broad place, man.
Yeah, I
Where
know.
on
I
the
mean,
internet?
I don't exactly remember on YouTube where I heard it, but I mean, yeah, I heard it somewhere, and I don't know if the writers are that smart to do that. Because that would take like some intelligence like on their part. Well, because writers today are like mostly soap opera writers, right? And
Yeah.
they're not really like sci-fi writers. Not like they don't understand time, like time travel and stuff like that. And these writers are from like Gilmore Girls or something.
Well, time travel is theoretical, and it depends on what your perspective of time travel. Because like if you look at like the physics of a black hole, which they've documented black holes, and I know that they, I think it was the European Space Agency working with NASA, they were over using time-lapse photography. They were able to photograph a black hole for the first time. That made the news, I think, last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at the physics of a black hole, time and space become inverted. Time starts to resemble space, and space starts to resemble time. And so, and it's also been theorized that maybe black holes invert and become a white hole, leading to daughter dimensions or daughter universes. But who knows for sure? But yeah, if you were close to a black hole, time would slow down. If you were like inches away from the surface of a black hole, your body would stretch and contort. But you also would be, if you were extremely close to the event horizon of a black hole, actually not maybe necessarily inches away because you would be destroyed, but if you were extremely close to the event horizon, from the outside perspective, it would look like you were frozen in time. And so, but yeah, time travel is really interesting. But I believe that with time travel, you would actually fracture space-time. If you were to travel back in time, you would just basically create a new parallel universe, and it would be kind of like Sliders, although Sliders had some really cheesy episodes. But it was a mediocre show, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I like that show, but they were talking for a long time about reviving that show, and I
oh,
don't know if they
really?
can actually do that. I don't know if they can actually do that. I mean, with today's special effects, it would look really good, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, like Sliders, they were stuck in parallel universes, and they would think they would be home. There were some good episodes and there were bad episodes, but they would think they would be home, and there were some parallel universes that were almost identical to theirs, but some things would be slightly different, and and they were trying to find their way back home, and that'd be the same thing that would happen if you had time travel. Is you would fracture space-time and you'd be stuck in a parallel universe, and you would have a very difficult time getting back to your own home universe. But yeah.
Exactly.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
with COVID-19 and delaying production for a year in Hollywood, California, there's like no TV show production this year, no movie production. All the TV shows and movies that have come out is stuff that was filmed before March. And so I don't know, like if they're going to do like Picard season 2 or another season of Discovery or Mandalorian season 3, which I hear Mandalorian season 3 is in doubt, but I mean, it could be another 2 years before they get around to filming it, because I don't think this COVID mess is going to be over by next year. Not with President Trump doing next to nothing, why he's a lame duck president. And I am so glad that he has finally got the GSA, which is the General Services Administration, to coordinate with the Biden team to do transition of power. For a long time, he was trying to do a political coup trying to overturn the results of the election through legal cases, but he kept losing legal case after legal case. But yeah, what have you heard about Mandalorian season 3?
I heard that they want to start filming it before the end of this year, so it could be anywhere in like December. They haven't started filming it yet.
Okay.
I really hope they start filming it in December. Oh, did you hear also? Did you hear like they're starting to film a Boba Fett series? They could have started already, actually, because there was like an article that they leaked, and it said production date start on the 23rd.
Well, I find it kind of annoying that they teased Boba Fett's armor and somebody else had his armor, and then Boba Fett's just like this wanderer in the desert, and he doesn't have his armor, and he's got Tusken Raider gear, and he looks sad, or he looks like he kind of looks like he lost his mind. And they tease him at the end of the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, and then you don't hear from Boba Fett again. I hate when they do stuff like that. It's like Boba Fett's a very popular character. Use him. But yeah, they've really he's probably the most underutilized character in all Star Wars. He's very popular, I guess, because he's kind of mysterious, or he had been before they did Attack of the Clones. But he's a very popular character, very underutilized. I saw a YouTube video where somebody edited together, I think it's like only like a 5-minute clip of all the lines of dialogue Boba Fett had in the original trilogy, which was not much. You still there? You still there? Okay, I saw your video feed clunk out. Okay. Oh, okay, you're back again. So anything else on your mind, Daniel?
So I gotta say, I can't wait for this Boba Fett series. I'm really excited. I think I'm more excited for the Boba Fett series than the Mandalorian season 3, because I like Boba Fett. He's a really badass character. He's very mysterious, like you said. He's very mysterious, and yeah. I don't think we're gonna see him again until season 3, because like this season's already packed as it is, unless Moff Gideon hires Boba Fett to go after the Mandalorian, which I think is possible, So, yeah.
Well, who knows? Who knows what will happen?
And also,
Moff Gideon too. He seems incredibly incompetent. One makes you wonder how he even became a Grand Moff and was able to maintain that power. I mean, he's lost like 2 armies so far, and lost like 2 fleets of TIE fighters. And, he just all in an attempt to take down the Mandalorian and capture Baby Yoda. I don't know. I wish they would have written it where like maybe he was, the Mandalorian was in a situation where he could take out like maybe 2 stormtroopers, but it just comes off as a little bit unrealistic that he doesn't have force powers. It comes off as a little bit unrealistic that he's able to take out a whole army of TIE fighters and a whole army of stormtroopers and Imperial officers. I don't know. I mean, granted, he's really skilled. He probably has better, experience and training than the average stormtrooper, but to take out an entire army just with ease just seems a little bit absurd to me. It seems comically absurd.
Yeah, a little unrealistic, huh?
Now, you said, we talked about on the phone the other day off camera, you talked about how supposedly the clones that you see in the last episode, that's supposedly Snoke, but I couldn't really tell. It just looked blurry to me. Where did you read that, or where did you hear that?
Well, in some videos, they actually show that, like, when you look at those things in those tanks, you can see the same mark. You know the mark on Snoke's face?
Yeah.
You can see that mark. And they're saying it could be him.
Well, what do you mean? Like the scarring? You mean the scarring? Yeah. Okay.
Scarring
I have to play it back and freeze frame it. It just looked like a blurry thing in a tank to me. I couldn't really make it out. And then I saw what looked like some special type of stormtrooper with black armor, but not a Death Trooper, different type of stormtrooper. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely. That's what they want. They want Baby Yoda's blood, because they want to make Force-sensitive stormtroopers. They already did this in the video games, right? So,
Okay.
and I think Moff Gideon wants to make himself Force-sensitive too. So that's why they want Baby Yoda's blood. But like Dr. Pershing said, you can only take so much from him without killing Baby Yoda, right? You can only take so much from him because he's so tiny.
Well,
And
yeah, if you donate blood, you can only, like, I think the human body, you can only donate like a pint of blood before you could end up dying from severe blood loss, severe dehydration. Uh, you can donate, so much blood like every 8 weeks, and your body slowly regenerates it. I don't know about Yoda's species, how quickly can he regenerate blood? I know they refer to an M count, which is midichlorian count.
yeah,
I thought
so
that was
happy that you buy back midichlorians. A lot of people didn't like the idea of midichlorians. You remember back in the day, people didn't like the idea.
Well, they were whiny bitches. I had no problems with midichlorians. I had no problems with adding science to the Force. And that would make sense. Like if Star Wars universe took place in the same universe as Earth, that would explain why on one side of the universe they have Force sensitive people, and one side they don't, because there are people who don't have midichlorians and people that do. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it's and also also in one of the tanks, you could see they pointed out in a video I watched there was a Zabrak. Zabrak is one of Darth Maul's species. So everyone's like saying, "Oh, it's possible. It's just a possibility they could be cloning Darth Maul. He could come back, maybe." Remember what Darth? What you know?
They've if all the characters that I think have been overused, it's Darth Maul. They needed to just put Darth Maul to rest. I mean, Darth Maul was in Solo, Star Wars, a Star Wars story movie. He was in the Solo movie. He was in Episode 1. He was in the Clone Wars. He was in Star Wars Rebels. They've kind of, in my opinion, they've kind of milked the character of Darth Maul to death. He's been dead so many times, and it starts to get absurd if he keeps coming back to life. So I hope they don't do that. If anything, instead of bringing back Darth Maul, you need to have more Boba Fett. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it won't be really him. It'll be another version of him, right? It's like a
Yeah, I mean, but it'll be a clone of Darth Maul, which is essentially bringing back the character of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I think they've utilized him. He's been in 2 live-action Star Wars movies, and he's been in, 2 anime. Actually, technically, no, I don't think the first. There was the first animated short.
He died in the first one. He died in the first one. He wasn't in the second or third one, and then he was in the Clone Wars, the animated series, and then he was in Rebels.
And then he was in Solo. He was also in Solo.
Solo, yeah, he was in Solo.
He had a cameo in Solo, but which was surprising because that didn't even get leaked out until the movie was released.
Yeah, I was so surprised. Oh, about Solo: A Star Wars Story. Nobody went to see that movie. Nobody went to see that movie. I went to the theater in 2018. I was the only person in the theater. I had the entire theater to myself. That was a treat. That was kind of cool. It was like, wow, the whole thing to myself. Nobody was there. It was completely empty.
Well, I thought the movie was mediocre. I didn't think it was super bad, but I didn't think it was good either. You could tell that it was directed by more than it was directed by more than one director, because there were beginnings of punchlines that were never finished. There were jokes that they started with some of the droids. I can't remember. I'd have to watch. I've only seen Solo once, but there were jokes that were started, and there were times where it was goofy, and then there was times where it was dead serious. The pacing seemed off. You could tell that there was more than one director. I mean, because that movie basically had 3 different directors, and Kathleen Kennedy fired the original 2 directors, and because she described it as Ace Ventura in outer space, and I think that really hurt. If you're going to reutilize footage from a version of the movie that was shot like a comedy and then add it with serious footage, this doesn't mesh really well. And the fact that, the one thing I didn't like about Solo's Star Wars story, I hated how they explained Han Solo's name. Like, I guess his real name is mysterious because we don't know what his real name is, because according to the movie, he got his name Solo as a nickname because the Imperial officer who recruited him into the Empire didn't even know what to call him. He's like, I guess I'll call you Han Solo, which is kind of funny, but it's just really, it kind of hurts the character Han Solo. And the actor who played Han Solo, he just didn't quite capture the essence of Han Solo, in my opinion. And the other problem was the story was kind of long and mundane and drawn out. And they introduced a lot of characters that they killed off 5 minutes later, which is like, well, why did you even waste screen time? If you're going to build up all this character development, I guess to show that life is brutal in the Star Wars universe and you can just die at the drop of a hat, but it just seemed distracting from the story. And like you had told me off camera, nobody really asked for a Solo movie. They should have done a Boba Fett movie. That
Yeah.
would have sold tickets. Or done an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, because we'd like to see what Obi-Wan Kenobi did in that 20-year span of being on Tatooine, living as a
Well,
hermit.
we're going to get Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series starting to film in March.
Yeah. Well.
Wow, just in time for my birthday.
Oh, cool. When is your birthday?
March 22nd.
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
34 years old.
Awesome.
On March 22nd, 2021.
Awesome.
So yeah, but I heard that this Obi-Wan Kenobi series will be a mini series. So it won't be an ongoing series like Mandalorian. And also I heard Ahsoka is going to be in there too.
Yeah, I guess she's going to be in the next episode. I was hoping she would be in this episode, but she's going to be in the next episode. That's kind of disappointing as well, because Ahsoka is a very popular character. She was in one Star Wars movie. She was in the Star Wars Clone Wars movie, and then she was in the Clone Wars cartoon and in Star Wars Rebels. And she's a very popular character, and I'm glad that they're bringing her to live action, but it's like, again, a very underutilized character. We don't have enough Ahsoka. This is the first time that you're seeing Ahsoka live action, and I was hoping that she'd be a reoccurring character throughout season 2, at least a supporting character. But it seems like maybe she's only going to be in one episode. Who knows? Because we're already halfway through season 2, and there's still no Ahsoka. But what's your take on that?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping the original actress would play Ahsoka, but they didn't want to bother her, I suppose. They were like, well, we didn't want to bother her. But then she came out saying, I would have done it. She would have done it if they asked her. I'm just like, oh, they could have asked her, man. The original actress
What's the actress that's playing Ahsoka? I forget her name. She was in Clerks.
The one playing her in the live action is Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson. She's a good actress, and she has some star power. I think more star power. Who did the voice for Ahsoka? I'm really bad at remembering names on some of these obscure actors.
Let's see.
I've met her before, and that's actually pretty pathetic. I've met her before, and I've tried to do an interview with her, but she said that she was under contract with Lucasfilms. Let me look. Let's see.
Yeah, she's hot. The actual actress, I mean, she is gorgeous.
Yeah, I've met her before. Yeah, I know. I've met her before. I'm trying to Google it. Oh.
Oh, Ashley Eckstein.
Ashley Eckstein. I've met her before. I met her at Star Wars Celebration 2015. She was really nice. She gave me a free autograph, but she refused to do an interview because she was under contract. It's really hard to interview big Star Wars celebrities because they're often under contract with LucasArts, and they're afraid of violating their contract with doing interviews with independent media. You have to be pre-approved on the LucasArts website, and I wasn't pre-approved. I mean, I was approved to be media, to get press pass at the convention, but I was not pre-approved for the website. So that didn't allow me. Like Billy D. Williams turned me down for an interview. Ashley Epstein turned me down for an interview, which sucked because that would have been great. But yeah, never know. We got about 5 minutes left to wrap up because I'm trying to keep this podcast under 30 minutes, and we've been running for about 25 minutes. Right now, Anchor FM, the server is down. My podcast is still available on iTunes, but might take me a couple days, folks, before I can upload this episode. Apparently, Anchor FM uses hosting services with Amazon, and that's down right now. I don't know.
Okay, before we go, I gotta say, like, remember we were talking last night about this? Like, now there's a theory that, okay, so like in the next episode, okay, we know that in the next episode, Mando is gonna find Ahsoka. Ahsoka is gonna be on a forest moon, not Endor, but a different forest moon. I never knew there was a multiple forest moons. I thought there was only one, but apparently there's more. So that's good. So Mando is gonna find Ahsoka on a planet, fighting this warlord or something, and apparently the next episode I think it's called the Jedi, and she's not. So
it's not going to be the moon of Endor.
No, it's not. It's not. But
that's too bad. You could have had could have had Ewok shish kebab on a stick.
Yeah, they taste like chicken. They're so good, aren't they?
They're cute and delicious.
Cute. But okay, so he's gonna find Ahsoka, but she's not a Jedi, right? So why is it called the Jedi? She's not a Jedi. She's like a. Hold on.
You all right?
Yeah, I got some acid reflux.
Drink some water. Drink some water.
Yeah. So he's gonna see her, but she's not a Jedi. I think she's going to point him in the direction of a Jedi. It may be Luke Skywalker, and I think it's possible. Mark, what?
The problem is Mark Hamill. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's possible that Mark Hamill, right now, he's at this point in time, he's on Dagobah training with Anakin. That's what I'm hearing. He's on Dagobah.
Anakin? But Anakin's dead.
Yeah, I know, but Anakin can come back as a Force
ghost. Oh, okay. Well,
it would be so great to see Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen together in the same scene talking to each other.
Well, the problem with Mark Hamill is he's too old to play a young Luke Skywalker because, this is only 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so, Luke Skywalker would be in his mid-20s.
Yeah, he would be in his mid-20s, but they have technology that can de-age you, right? I mean,
But it usually looks cheesy and it gives you an uncanny valley look, and it looks fake. They're not quite there with CGI special effects yet. It's kind of like what they did with Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. It just didn't quite look realistic. They would have been better off just hiring an actor who looked like Peter Cushing.
Do you remember back in 2006? Have you seen Have you seen X-Men: The Last Stand?
Yeah.
When they made Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
Yeah, that looked fake. It looked really.
Yeah, I remember at the time everybody was like, "Ooh, it's so."
We got about 1 minute left, so.
It's possible they can do this.
Okay, we got to wrap up.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2014's Terminator Salvation. And
I don't know. They did a good job of Arnold Schwarzenegger. It just depends on how much of a render farm you have and how long you've got to render the textures, if you understand anything about render farms, folks. But if you have only a limited amount of time, I remember I had a friend who he had a render farm and he rendered on he had a render farm of only 3 computers, and he rendered a realistic TIE fighter, or not a TIE fighter, dogfight scene from World War I. And he made it look like photorealistic, like as if somebody had traveled back in time with a black and white camera and photographed a dogfight scene. And he had the smoke on the ground from the battle. And but it took him a month on 3 computers to render that photorealistic. So it really depends on how much you're willing to spend on render farms to render a realistic scene. And how long is the video? The longer the video, the more realistic you want it to be, the more expensive it can be, because it requires more infrastructure to be built, you know, and computers capable of running Maya 3D Studio Max. But we're at the half-hour mark, folks. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me on The World is a Mouse. I just want to steampunk it. This is the November 23rd, 2020 episode. This is the day before Thanksgiving. But happy Turkey Day. You have a nice day. And I will see you 25 billion years. I will.
Wow. We just ended it at like 8. It's 8 p.m. here.